Good evening, all. Yeah, good evening. So today we'll start with, we'll continue with the OOPS concept. So what have we discussed yesterday? What are the topics we have seen? Yes, we discussed class, object, and what is self, init, constructor, and we have discussed types of variable, types of methods. Okay. Yes. Very good. Now we'll see. Today we'll see what is inner class, what is inheritance, what is constructor in inheritance, and we are going to learn about single level inheritance, multi level inheritance, and what is multiple inheritance. And then we'll move towards polymorphism. So what are the types of polymorphism? We have back typing, operator overloading, operator overriding. We're going to see all those things. Okay. And in case if we have time, I'll introduce the libraries. What all the libraries we have in Python? We'll discuss about that. Okay, fine. Shall we proceed? Everyone ready with collab or the working file? And also we have to see what is encapsulation and abstraction also. I forgot that. We have to see that also. Fine. Hold on. One second.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, your screen is not visible. It is blank.
No. I said wait for 1 minute. I'm just opening the file. Hold on.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. Is my screen visible now? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
Okay. And let me start with inner class. So inner class is nothing but so far we have seen how to define a class, object, method, and we have seen how to deal with the types of variables, that is instance variable and class variable, and these are type of method, instance method, class method, static method, all fine. But we were dealing with a class, a single class as of now. What in case if I have a nested class? What is nested class? One class inside another class. So what happens if we have one class inside another class? Let's see that. Democratic queries, why we have none? Okay, none is nothing but because I don't have anything to print after that, so that's why it is returning none. Okay. Maybe if you're returning something, it will stop. Okay. Because we're just printing and we are not dealing anything with that. Okay. Okay, so coming to inner class, let me create a class called student, and let me create some attribute with respect to that. So I'm creating class students, and so I'm creating an attribute. So here you have to give self, which is very important, and whatever the attributes you are using, you have to mention that also. For example, we can take name and a roll number and edit with column, and self dot. Okay, so now I've created the attributes, and let me create object for that. So you have to assign the constructor to create the constructor, right? Class name with the object. Then I'm creating one more student, that is one more object. Then exactly you know where the constructor holds the data for that variable which you have defined, right? Let me take Asha, and the roll number may be 2. Let me take Shalini, and the roll number may be 3. Okay, now how can I access these attributes? Very simple, you know, with the object. Yes or no? Yes, one dot name. So you can ask together both the details. For example, if I'm taking one object or one student details, you can access both all the details together, like yes1 dot name and yes1 dot roll number, which you will get the answer like this. Clear? What in case without asking for each and every attribute, if I wanted to access, for example, if I say student 1, that is object 1, right? Yes, 1. If I say, if I access a particular object or particular student info, I need all the details of them without asking separately. Clear? So, for example, if I have student name, roll number, address, phone number, they are a result of if all the details I have for one object, that is for one student, I have to look all them in a single click. So without mentioning object.name, object.roll number for single student, if I am taking S1, okay, if I say S1 show all the information about that student, I need to get the details like that. What can I do? For example, I can take S1.show. So if I say S1.show, if I'm creating a method like this, it's saying that attribute error, which means students has no attribute show. Because show is nothing but something is, it's nothing built in, right? We don't have anything built in called show. Yes, until and unless you create regarding the show method, you don't have anything because show is not built in, right? So it will not work. So what can we do? You have to create a method with the show. So let me create define show. Then self is again important when you're dealing with objects. So make it S is small, it's capital. Okay, now here I have to give print self dot name comma and self dot roll number. So now it will work. See, now it is working. I mean, for the line number 12, if you can separately access each attribute, that is each info, each variable. Otherwise, you want all the details to be shown together, then you can go for particular object, a particular student with show. That also will work. Clear? But for that, what you have to do, you have to create a method called show, because you don't have anything built in with the show. So you have to create a method telling that if I use show method, or if I call this access the show method, which means that I have to display all the attributes with respect to that particular student or particular object. Clear? Yes or no? Clear till here? Good. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Okay. I got some query. What is the default access specifier for class number? Ritu Sharma. Okay, see default access specifier, which is like no by default all the variables and member functions of a class will be public actually. That's it. Okay. The access level assigned when no access specifier is explicitly specified. That's what default access specifier. Okay. Now, coming back to this program. So now we have created a class, we have created some attributes with respect to that. And also I've told you something different, like when you wanted to get info of all the, if you wanted to get info of all the info of a particular student, how to get it in a single method without asking it for separately. That also we have seen. Now, let's move bit advanced level. Now, for example, student means every student will have a laptop. Maybe if you're a programmer or if you're in a computer science department, maybe like no, everyone should have a laptop. So here, laptop class will be your inner class, which is called nested class. One class inside another class. I'm going to create like that. So how can we create? So it should be straight to this function because this is inner class. So I'm going to create a class called laptop. And see, laptop means it should have some attributes with respect to that. For example, laptop name, brand name, CPU, and RAM. How can you define the attributes? Again, take it init method, the magic method, and here give self. And here I'm going to mention like self dot branch equal to branch, and brand is nothing but the laptop name. Then what can we do? Then we can take CPU equal to CPU. Self dot, let me take RAM. Whatever the attributes you want, you can take it. It's not like compulsory you have to give this. Okay, so we're done with passing this. And now we got the outer class as student and we got the inner class, that is nested class, as a lab. Now, I'll tell you one more thing. For example, this class is inside the student class. So where you can create, for example, on the whole, you can create this some attribute for this class also. For example, you can take like this self dot lab equal to the laptop. You can take like this. So now I think you would understood what is the purpose of inner class. So inner class is nothing but where you can make use of this inner class even as the attribute to the outer class. Okay, a bit confusing, but you have to understand. Okay, see this is not an outer class. This laptop class is inside student class. So where the class laptop can be taken as an attribute to the outer class, which is nothing but student. Clear? And sorry, you have to give self, otherwise it will not consider as attribute. Why? Because as of now, it is known laptop is known only for the class name. So mention it with self dot laptop. Now what can we do after defining all those things? I think we have to give it like this too. Hold on. Okay, like this. You have to create a method. Okay. So now I have already the details. Now let me tell you how can you make use of this. So we have created an attribute with inner class in the outer class. What's the purpose of that? Let me show you that. So now I'm going to take the first student, which is called object one, yes one dot. Let me take lab. Lab is nothing but here, in the line number 7, we have this. I'm going to take this dot. I'm going to give brand. Okay. Or you can take it like this also. Let me run it and see what happening. Okay, we are getting name error, nothing but taking the brand name. Brand is not defined. Why we are getting this error? Brand. Any idea? Maybe here you have to mention what brand it is. Let me take HP and let me take CPU as i5, then RAM as 8. Let me run it. Okay, now I got it. Because you didn't give the details of that, the data for that attribute, right? So that's why it was showing that name brand is not defined. Now I've given it. So now by using the object with the lab attribute, you are able to access the attribute of the inner class. How can you able to access for every object? You're able to access the attribute of inner class. How it is possible? You have taken that class name as the attribute to the outer class. That's why you're able to access it with every object. The thing is, you must able to access everything with the object. That too, we have inner class. Inner class is nothing but, see, if I take student, definitely he need laptop, definitely he need exams. So like, which is coming under that student, it's must for that student. So whichever thing you think that it is needed, that will be coming inside that. So which is called inner class. So that's why we are taking laptop as the inner class over here. Clear? And also you can create an object for this also. For example, you can create one more object called, let me take lab1, or maybe different object. I can take S1 object and I can give lab. And one more object with lab2. And here if you give S2 dot lab, that also will work. See? It is able to access the info of both the S1 and S2. Even you can create a new object for accessing the attribute with the inner class. Otherwise, this is not necessary. You can directly go with the line number 19 and 20. Clear? This is how you can create an inner class. See, so creating separate new class. For example, one class and second class, that is different. That is inheritance. That will come under inheritance. But here we are talking about nested class. One class inside another class. We are not creating multiple class here. We are creating the inner class. That is nested class. Clear? You can also create like this. For example, let me take this one. I've created a new object lab1. You can take like this. What is your outer class name? Students. Student or students? Okay, it's students. Then dot and create laptop, which is already there. Again, you're able to access this. Hold on. And also you can create show for this also. So like how we did for this init. The outer class. If I say S1, I'm getting all the data. So the same way you can create a show for inner class also. Maybe it can be created for any classes. So where now this show self will show self dot branch, self dot CPU, comma, self dot RAM. Okay. Okay, indentation. Okay, forgot to move this inside. Clear? This also you can do. For example, if you are accessing, let me take, hold on. For example, if you're taking like this, you also have to mention in the outer class, you have to mention that whenever the person is reaching with the lab, self.lab, then it has to show completely, because this is inner class. Whatever you wanted to do or whatever you wanted to modify or whatever you have to do, you have to mention it in the outer class too. That's why first of all I've created attribute for the inner class. Now I'm telling here, whenever they are accessing show this lab, this which is nothing but laptop class, whenever they're accessing, show it completely, which means see, now it is showing HP, i5 and 8 whenever accessing the class laptop, inner class. Before it was not showing. But once after mentioning in the outer class, it is now working out. So on the one go, it is giving me the brand name, CPU, and the RAM together. How? After giving this in the outer class. If they are dealing with laptop, then have to show the complete details. So that's why this line is working. When I create a new object, then I'm creating an outer class, but I'm calling the inner class. So now we're able to get all the info together. Clear? Very simple. You're creating one class inside another class. That's it. But the inner class, whatever you're doing, should be mentioned in the outer class. Clear? Outer class handles the inner class. That's it. Clear? If you're clear with the inner class, we can move to the inheritance. Inheritance will be easy. You can easily understand what is inheritance. Hold on. See, inheritance means it depends. For example, if you're a parent and we have a child, the child depends on the parent. Yes or no? Let me open the page. Hold on. Let me tell you what is inheritance, what is single level inheritance, and what is multi-level inheritance, and what is multiple inheritance. I'll draw a diagram and I will show it to you. Then only if I define the multiple classes, you will understand. Okay. Hold on. For example, if we have A, okay, class A, and if I have class B, it has this as a child. Okay, this is child, and this is parent. Okay, so obviously you know the child depends on the parent. Yes or no? So our parents' house is our house. My father's mobile is my mobile. It depends. Dependency, some dependency. So this is called single level inheritance. Okay, single level inheritance. And I have class A, then I have B, then I have say 3 classes over here. Then I have 3 classes. This again you can take it as grandchild, parent, and grandparent. We take it like that. This is grandparent. Okay. So what will happen here in this case? The child depends on the parent, and the parent depends on his parents or their parents. So this is called multi-level inheritance. This is called multi-level inheritance. Clear? Let me write it all this. This is called multi-level inheritance. Now, do you understand the difference? All these ABC is nothing but a different class. When you're, you can call it as subclass and the superclass, or you can call it as child and the parent class. Okay. So when B depends on A, a single level inheritance. And if C depends on B and B depends on A, that is multi-level. And what is multiple? Multiple inheritance. For example, if you have, for example, if you have class C, okay. See, before it was like dependency, you're able to see the dependency on one another. C depends on B and B depends on A. But here, the class C will depend on both B and A, which is individual. Okay. We don't have any connection between this A to B. It's separate class. And the third class, which is called C, depends on 2 different classes. Clear? So this we used to call it as multiple inheritance. If you understand this, we can go for the implementation, it will be very easy. Clear? Now do you understand what is single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance? Okay, and this is multiple inheritance. When it comes to multiple, you don't have the connection between A and B. It is 2 different classes. And C depends on both A and B, but we don't have connection between A and B. But look at single level and multiple level. We have dependency one over another. B on A, then C on B, then B on A. Clear with this? Let me know. Okay. Fine. So let's move to the implementation part. Let me create a class. Let me create a class A. Let me take the same A, B, C. So here inside this, just I'm going to define few methods to check the dependency and how it is working, how the inheritance dependency is working. For that, let me create a method called feature one. Then I'm going to give self. Then you're going to print feature one working. Okay, to confirm that we are in the feature one or for example, if I deal with class A, I should have this two feature, okay, two methods. That's why I'm just creating this self so that you will understand how the dependency works. And here again, I'm going to print feature two is working. Okay. So here I have a class A. Then I have some methods inside that, and let me create one more class B. Okay, so now before that, before creating the class B, let us create an object for class A. Let me take A1 equal to the class A, the constructor. Got it? Now if I give A1 dot feature one method, and this is an object, right, A1. So with the same object, I'm calling two methods. So now A1 is nothing but which is dealing with the class A, so both the feature will work. Let me comment. See, if you run this, you can able to see feature one is working and feature two is working. Clear? Okay, let me create one more class called B, and I'm going to copy this and paste. And let me keep it as feature 3 and 4 is working. Feature 3 and feature 4 is working. And you also change it here also, feature 3 and feature 4. Now, now we have class B, but here we have to deal with single level inheritance. Single level inheritance means what? Class B, which is nothing but the child class, should depend on the parent class. Or subclass should depend on the superclass, which is nothing but class B should be depend on class A. So what can I do to make the dependency very simple? Just go here and create a bracket, and you have to give the class A over here, which means the class B is inheriting class A. Clear? Maybe if I'm not doing this, if I'm not inheriting separately, you can create an object for a class B, which is nothing but B1. B1 equal to, you can create B like this, and if you're going to give B1 dot feature, if you're calling feature 3, it will work, and B1 dot feature 4, it will work. See, it's working. Each separate class is working. Now we'll see after giving the inheritance how it is going to work. Okay, so as I said, B bracket pass the superclass or the parent class inside this bracket. Now what will happen? No, your class B will hold all the four feature 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, good. So now how can you confirm that? How can we check it? So this is single level inheritance where B is depending on the class. Okay, so now I'm just commenting this. And if I'm taking B1 dot feature 1, it will work because now your B class is inheriting A. Now where B will hold whatever the feature the class A is having, now it will come to B also. It means that now feature 1 and 2 also belongs to belongs to class B. Okay, now with the object, which is nothing but the object assigned to class B, by using that object, you can able to access all the feature. See, I can able to access all the feature with the object of class B. See, which we have inherited. This is called single level inheritance. Clear, guys? Let me write it here. Single level inheritance. Okay. Are you clear with this single level inheritance? Let me know. Any doubts in this? Then we can move to multi-level inheritance. What about others? I'm getting only response from few people. Okay. Good. So now let's move to the multi-level inheritance. Okay. So multi-level. Okay. I think 1 second they're asking. See, here I've created two separate classes, class A, and I've created two methods inside that. And class B I've created and separate class B I've created. Then I've created two methods for that class B also. Now I have to make the dependency. I want to make my class B to inherit or to be dependent on class A. So by giving like this B open bracket A, if you give this, which means my class A is now dependent, inheriting class A. Class B is inheriting class A. Now what happens? Whatever the feature or whatever the methods we have in class A, now you will be having it in class B also. But remember one thing, class A will not have the methods in the class B. Parent class or superclass will not be able to access the methods in the child class or subclass. Okay, because only the subclass is the child class is inheriting the parent class. Okay, so only the child will be able to access and get everything from the parent. The parent will not able to access anything from the child. Remember that. Clear? So this is called single level inheritance. Now let me move towards multi-level inheritance. Now, what did I told for multi-level inheritance? Let me take the same code. Okay, so let me take this. So now I have class A, then B, which is inheriting A. Now I'm going to create one more class, which is called C. Now C is going to inherit B. Actually, what is the diagram we have seen here? So before the B dependent on A, which means you're going to give like this, which means we were giving like this, class B of A. So this is nothing but single level. And what about this multi-level you can do with? C depends on B, B depends on A. So you'll be getting like this. C depends on B, like that you will be getting it. And here, again, the B will be depends on A. This is what we will be getting it. Yes or no? So how can you give it in the code? So here, C depends on B. So I'll be getting like this. Clear? So let me take the same method and give it here with a different feature number. Okay? Feature number. So let me give it as 5 and 6. Sorry. So feature 5 and 6. Got it? Now you have to create an object for class C also. We haven't created, right? So let me take C1 equal to, I'm creating an object constructor for C. Now what will happen? Now what will happen? With the help of C1 object, I can able to access all the feature feature 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes or no? With the class C, I mean the object of class C is what? C1. So with the help of C1, I can able to access all the features available in different classes. Yes or no? Why? Because C inherits B. So now C will have the method in the C and also in the B. Because C is inheriting B. But the B also inheriting A, where B will have all the features from the class E. So now if you go to the class C, now it will have all the features available in B, then also in A. Yes or no? So now class C is holding, see class A have feature 1, feature 2. Class B have feature 1, 2, 3, 4. Now class C will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the feature, which is multi-level. Multi-level. For example, with the help of C1 object, I can able to access all the feature. You can also get C1. Let me comment this one. Okay. You can also able to get feature 1, and you can also able to see with the help of C1 object, you can able to access all the features. Feature 2, with the help of class C, I can able to access feature 3, 4, 5, 6. All the features will be accessed with the class C now, because C inheriting B, B inheriting A. This is called not multiple. This is multi-level inheritance. Clear, everyone? Yes or no? Let me know if you have any doubts. Till here, clear? Next, I'm going to explain what is multiple inheritance. Okay. Multiple inheritance. Let me take the same code. I'm going to take the same code. Okay. So now what is multiple inheritance? What we have seen this diagram, where C alone is depending on A and B. So which is mean C is inheriting A and B, but D is not inheriting A. Yes or no? So how can we change that into the code? So here you have to remove this, right? So here, keep it the class B as it is. So we have two separate classes, which is called class A and class B. Now here C is inheriting what? Both A, comma B. Clear? Now what happens? C1 object. Now C1 object will have feature 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I right? Yes or no? Yes. If I take C1, okay. So now what will happen? Let me try it with all the feature and see whether it is working or not. Feature 4, feature 5, feature 6. Okay. So now C will have access to A and B, but A will not have access to B. Okay, B will have object B will have B method, object A will have A method. Only C will hold everything. This is called multiple inheritance. Clear? Let me know if you have any doubts. Good. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about constructor in inheritance. The constructor is nothing but this one, right? Constructor is what? This one. A bracket, B bracket, C bracket. This is constructor in inheritance. Now we are going to see how the constructor is working in inheritance. Okay. So how it is working? Okay. So now, for example, let me take the same code. Okay. Okay. So now I have this. I don't want class C as of now. So let me take class B inherits class A. So now I'm going to create an attribute. So for that we need init and self. And to check whether this init, how the init is working with the constructor whenever you define the attribute. Let me check it like printing like this in A init. So I'll check that how it is working. See now I have class A, class B, which is inheriting class A, which is nothing but single level inheritance. Now, if I'm creating object for a class B, okay. Now, if I'm calling this, okay, A has no attribute B. Hold on. Okay, let me take it like this. And need to create object. Yeah, we have created the object, right? Okay, hold on. Let me see what is that. We inherited A. It should work. Hold on. Double underscore. Okay, got it. Sorry. Sorry. For it or equal to, I've given dot. Okay, sorry. So now see, when I'm creating an object for class A, now the constructor, how it is accessing the attribute. The attribute means I've identified the attribute here, but I'm checking whether how it is working. So for that, I'm printing in A in it. Now if you call the class A, fine. Now it is working in A in it. What in case when I'm dealing with B? What do you think it will happen? Again, it will go and take the same answer in A in it only. Why? Because B is depending on A. First of all, it will check whether we have some attributes or something inside the B itself. Clear? See, I'm not calling the method. Just I'm assigning the constructor to the object and I'm running it. So by default, it will go because init is default, which is connected self, which is connected to the object. So when you run this, it will go and access or define whatever you have kept it inside this. Clear? But here, when you're giving A, it was accessing. For example, when I was giving A1 equal to A constructor, so it was accessing in A in it. For B also, it is giving the same. Why? Because B is inheriting A, so that's why it is going and accessing that. But what in case if I have separately for class B? Now how it will work? For example, let me create the same thing here also. Okay. And here, just I'm going to give it as print in B int. So now, again, I'm giving B. Okay, before when I was giving A, see if you're giving A and if it is accessing in A in it, that is fine. Before when I was calling the constructor of B, class B, then again it was going to the parent class and taking that in A in it. Why? Because we don't have anything defined in the class B. So now I have again the same init and self in the class B. Now, what will be the answer? See, it is going for B in B init only. So whenever you have within inside the class itself, it will go and check in that class. And then only, if you're not having in that class only, it will go and check for the super class or parent class. Clear? But if you think that, for example, hold on. Now we're telling that, ma'am, I wanted to access both. For example, if I give, because B is inheriting A, right? So if I call the object with this B, it should also get, or it should also access this also. Because B is inheriting A. Yes or no? So here I should get both in A in it and also in B in it. That is the rule because that actually need to happen. Why? Because B is inheriting A. But what is happening when I give A1 equal to B constructor? It will check whether we have init itself inside this class. If it is there, it will take that only first. Okay, but what you need to get both in A init and in B init. For example, if I call object with the constructor B, I need to access both subclass and the superclass also, or child and the parent class. Why? Because B is inheriting A. So what you can do now, very simple, in the class B, where it is inheriting class A, you have to go here and you have to mention the super method, which is nothing but the magic method super method. I'm going to give it like this, dot, then give it init underscore. I think here also have to use double underscore. Okay, and I'm going to give the bracket. Now if you run, see you can able to access both in A init and in B init, where I'm just making to access and enable the superclass also to be accessed. Clear? This is called super method. Clear, everyone? See, if you create object of subclass, it will call it in subclass only first. Yes or no? In case if you're not having in the subclass, if you have the init in the superclass, it will go and fetch from the superclass. But in case if you want both to be accessed, then go for the super method. Clear? Which means the attributes. I'm talking about the attributes. Now, what in case of multi-level? This is single level. Yes or no? What in case of multiple? For example, let me take this class A, B separately. And let me remove this. Or else, no, I'll keep it this so that you need to have this code, right? Okay, let me do it separately. Mhm. So now constructor in multiple inheritance and constructor at single level. Clear? So now what can you do with constructor and multi-level? For example, I'll be having two different class and I'll be having one more class called C, right? Where C will inherit both A and B. So that is called class C. Yes or no? So let me take class C, which will inherit A, comma B. Okay. So now what happens in the sense I'm going to take this and keep it inside the class C. And here I'm going to remove it. But this one we need define init self. This is B. And coming to here, you have to keep this as C. Okay, first of all, I'll stop giving the super and see how the C is working. Okay. So now C is inheriting A and B. This is multiple. But B and A don't have connection. C is having connection with A and B. So if I call C here with the object, what will happen? It will take in C init only. Yes or no? Because as I told, whenever you're accessing that class, it will check whether you have the attribute or init self inside that class only first. It will not go up. Maybe if you don't have this here, it will go and check for A and B. Okay, but after giving super, what will happen here? Yes. After giving super, now C will go and take in A init and in B init, in B init also. It will have access to both. But when I run this, you're able to access only A and C. Why? See, actually, what happens in the sense, before when we are dealing with B and A, what happens? When you're having init in B, it will take only B. But after giving super to B, class B, what happens? It was able to take both A and B. But coming to multiple inheritance, when I was giving class C, it was able to access only in C init. But after giving super to the class C, now it should able to get both right in A init and also in B init. I need to get both A and B. Why? It is focusing only on the A, which means that it is happening something default. For example, if the C is inheriting multiple inheritance A and B, it is biased actually. It will just focus only on the left hand side, which is A. Okay, this is something built in. Okay, so if you have multiple inheritance, it will focus on the left side. But that's why it is taking only A in it, but not B in it. Clear? This is how the constructor will work. This is very, very important. And also you have to know how the constructor is working in single level and also on the multiple level. Clear? This is how the constructor behaves in inheritance. And you have to know how to use super method in inheritance. Clear? Any doubts? Okay. So now let's move towards polymorphism. So what is polymorphism? From that word, what can you understand? Polymorphism. Poly means many, morphism means form. So many forms. If I am a human, I have a many forms, right? Maybe in office I'll behave in a different way. At home I'll behave in a different way. At the class I'm behaving in a different way. So I have a many forms. Yes or no? So an employee or one person have a different forms of behavior. Clear? That is polymorphism. So under this polymorphism, we have four types of polymorphism. That is, we have a duck typing, and one more we have is operator overloading, and we have method overloading, and we have method override. Clear? And we'll see one by one. First, we'll see what is duck typing. Okay. See, for example, if you're looking at one bird, any bird, if it looks like a duck, or it swims like a duck, or it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck, right? Yes or no? That is duck test. Okay, we're going to do now the duck test. What? Okay. See, if you create, for example, if you're creating x equal to 8, if you check type of this x, it's going to be integer. Okay, you can also change the data for the variable x because Python is dynamic type, right? It will automatically understand whatever the type of data you're giving to the variable, it understands automatically. Why? Because Python is dynamically typed programming. If I'm giving x is equal to 8, object specific allocator in memory management concept, it will understand, okay, they have given 8 as an input, that is integer. If I'm giving hello as a string, it understands, okay, they have given string as an input. So according to that, it gives a space and works all those things. And again, if I'm giving x is equal to 8, now if you print x, your answer will be 8. Okay, but after that, if I'm giving x equal to some hello, now what happens? So the x will be hello, not 8. Okay, so even the particular variable have different forms. So different space, it will store it a different data also. Clear? So a single variable have different forms. Clear? So like that, let me create a class, okay? And I'll tell you how it works. For example, see, if you are having a laptop and if you're a programmer, definitely we are going to use different. See, if I'm a programmer, okay? So do you think I'll be working only on a single tool? I can work on different tools. So different tools, I think in technically we used to call it as ID, Integrated Development Environment, right? That is ID. So I can work on, see here now I'm working on Jupyter Notebook, and also I'll be working on Google Colab, and also I can go with one more tool we have in Python like PyCharm. We have Visual Studio. We have lot of tools, lot of IDE for the programmers to work in Python. Clear? So where one program, one language have different forms. It can be implemented in different tools. We'll see how it is working. For example, let me take a class laptop first of all. Let me write this, comment this. I'm taking a class called laptop. And under laptop, I'm going to define a function called code. So here you can give self, comma, ID. So this object ID can have different forms. Let me tell you how it is working. So now you can give id.execute. So what does execute means exactly here? See, if a class laptop have a method core, and here I am giving some object as an, that is attribute as an ID. Now how it is going to work? Let me tell you. So now let me create the ID also here. Hold on. I'll explain after that. Let me take PyCharm and insert this PyCharm. Okay, how does the PyCharm works? How the tool works? Let me create a method for that also. Because if I'm giving execute, I have to create a method for that. Hold on, I'll tell you how it works. And let me take print compiling print running. See, the moment when I say when I call this execute method, it says that okay, the tool will compile and run. So what you write here, where your code gets compiled and where your code gets run, that is PyCharm tool. Okay, fine. This is fine. Now what happens in the sense when you run this code, you will not get any output. For example, if I run this, you will not get any output. Okay, because you're not calling the method here. Okay, so how can we call the method here? Yes. If I say, let me create an object lap1 equal to, and I'm going to call this class. Now what happens? Again, I'm not getting anything. So again, with the same object, I'm going to call the method called code. Now let me run this. Again, I'm getting a code missing one required positional argument. Okay, what should I pass inside this code? Any idea? Let me look at the answers. Yes, Nirmal Raj, wonderful. So you have to pass ID. So let me pass it and see what is happening. As you said, okay, I'm giving ID. But again, I'm getting name error. Name ID is not defined. So what I have to do before passing this ID as an argument, what should I do? You need to create an object for this ID, right? Yes or no? For example, you have to do that this ID equal to where you have to connect the class called PyCharm. Am I right? So type of ID is like when you're working with a PyCharm, what happens at ID? Compiling and running, which is this is a user defined. See, when you are calling code, you have to pass ID. Now it should work. See, let me run this. See, it is telling that compiling and running. And you can create different IDs. For example, like class PyCharm, you can go for class Visual Studio, class Collab. Again, you can give compiling and running. Yes or no? The type of ID here is like PyCharm, but it is fixed. You can also change it. It's not fixed. You can also change it later. Let's say we have one more ID. Let me create it with the same. Let me copy and paste it. Okay, so now let me take it as Google Colab. Okay. And let me create, actually, again, execute method I have to give it. Let me check Google Colab is doing a different something like spell check. Let me give it in a different way. Okay, don't have to repeat the same compiling and running. Let me check convention check. Okay, so when I say the moment PyCharm, it will compile and run. If I say Google Colab, it will do spell check and convention check. Yeah, see, my ID is doing some extra stuff. It is dealing with different tools. Clear? So what if we wanted to change the type of ID? You can also change because it is dynamic typing, right? So you can replace this ID also from PyCharm to different editor. See, but whatever the different ID you use, it doesn't matter, but it is dealing with the same execute method, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Which class object you are passing what matters? Yes or no? Object should have the execute methods. It doesn't matter what you're passing into this ID object, PyCharm or Google Colab, it doesn't matter. But if you have the execute method, see, because look at this one, this line number 23 and 24. I have assigned that execute method with the ID. See, the ID object, whatever the class it deals with, doesn't matter. If you have the execute method, it's going to work out. Clear? The same ID, if you take Google Colab, what happens? Now it will start say spell check and also the conversion check. Clear? Because you're passing ID here. Again, it will work. Clear? So where for one object ID, you have different forms, different tools with a different class, but the method is same, which means for duck typing. So if the say, for example, if a bird is walking like a duck, swimming like a duck, or saying quack quack, then it is a duck. The same way. Everything are ID tool, but with respect to this execute method, you're able to access it. That is called a duck typing test. Clear? Let me know if you have any doubts in this duck typing. Good, good. Okay. Okay. Now next we go to operator overloading. Okay. See, operator overloading is nothing but, for example, if I am giving a equal to 9 and b equal to 4, if I give print a plus b, what is that? A and B are operands. Yes or no? A and B are operands, and where this in between I have plus is an operator. Yes or no? Yes. So with the help of this operator plus, you're able to combine the two variables or two datas. But if you're going for two different type of data, if you're trying to add or combine it, definitely you will end up with type error. We know that, right? Okay. So for example, um, if you wanted to add, okay, now with the help of the operator plus symbol, minus symbol, you can able to perform easily. But what in case if you wanted to handle this operators with some inbuilt method in the OOPS concept, how we can do it? For example, here I'm dealing with the integer, right, which is nothing but 9 and 4, I'm dealing with integer. Okay, so let me take int dot, and here I'm going to take, we have some all, I mean, you have many inbuilt methods. This is called, whenever you're dealing with double underscore, we used to call it as a magic method. Okay, so I have a magic method way to add like this. For example, you can mention like this. You can mention, let me take a comma d. Okay, so maybe let me keep it in the print. So now see, for both the answer you will get 1330. Clear? And the same way it can be done for subtraction, multiplication. You have sub method. For multiplication, you have mul method. Let me take it as sub. It will work. Okay. And again, if I give mul, mul method, all these are a magic method built in. Clear? Where you're loading the operator to make that operation to be done. Clear? For example, let me take, for example, if I'm trying to add to string, for example, I can have hi, I can have hello here. Now, how can you combine? Instead of int, very simple, change the type as string, it will work. Clear? So we have a lot of built-in methods in this operator overloading. You have to understand how it is working. So as of now, we're done with add, sub, and mul method. This is the concept of concept of overloading, operator overloading. Clear? Any doubts? Let me know. Any doubts? So how can we implement this in a class? So this is like an overview we have seen how the operator overloading is dealing with for adding a simple to data, whether it is integer or string. So I've showed you we have some built-in magic method called add, sub, and multiplication. How can you deal it with class? If I have class, for example, let me take a class student. Okay. And let me take the attributes within it self, So self S should be small, not capital. And here I'm dealing with two different marks, M1 comma M2. So I'm taking it here, M1 comma M2. And here give it with a self dot M1 equal to M1 and self dot M2 equal to M2. And again, for adding this, you have to create, right? Add. Okay, let me take self, comma, other, end it with colon. So I'm taking to student one, mark one detail, M1 equal to. So I have to add it actually. Self dot M1 plus other means M2, other mark. Okay, so other dot other student. Okay, so now let me take M2 and let me take self dot M1, sorry, M2, M2 plus other dot M2. So now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to, by taking S3, sorry, M3, I'm going to pass inside the student class, I'm going to pass M1 comma M2. Okay, M1 comma M2. And here what I'm going to do now, okay, this is S3, hold on. This is not M3, S3. So because you have to create an object, let me create an object for this class. So maybe let me take two student details, student, and I'm passing two mark called 58, comma 68, something like this. And for S2, I'm going to take student, let me take 67, comma 77. You know what happens? You have to return this, right? Maybe I have to, because I've given student M1, comma M2. Let me return this. Return S3. Okay, so now what I'm going to do in the sense, I wanted to add S3 is nothing but, sorry, I wanted to add S1 plus S2. So I'm not getting anything. So how can I add this two object, S1 plus S2? So you can just, for example, let me access and see whether it is working or not. If I'm taking print, if I'm taking S3 dot M1, okay, because it is telling that adding and giving of mark. I mean S3 means, yeah, this one is working. M1 and M2. Is it right? So it is adding the M1 mark of both student 1 and student S1 and S2. So it is 125. If you give M2, it is going to add. So that's what we have given this add method. Clear? Fine. Similarly, you can go do it for multiplication, subtraction. Clear? This is called operator overloading, where we are dealing with the magic method of add, where add means self and with other. Okay, that is, yeah. And similarly, you can work for sub and also for multiplication. That's what we are talking about. Clear? So we have a lot of operators in that. Not only add, sub, multiplication, you have division. And check it out. Clear? Yes or no? Confirm in the chat. You can create a separate method for that Shaklavano and you can get the average. I think we have done it for the previous programs also. Create a separate method and take the average and return it. Clear? So it's like oops is like we have lot of things. You have to keep it all in your mind. Okay. So some concepts will be easy and something you have to work it, you have to try it. Clear? Any other doubts? Okay, Mahesh asked like whether we have unary or binary. Yes, we have. Okay. So still we are left with method overloading and overriding. I will just take that topic freshly tomorrow because you will confuse if I take that. Okay. And sorry for the delay. I think the previous material from functions, then file handling, exception handling, and oops, till here I will send the material by today. Sorry for the delay. I was engaged with uh, a few works, so it's getting delay. Okay, but today I will be sending all the materials. So tomorrow I think it's like the last day, right? So tomorrow, like, we are going to see what is this method overloading and overriding, and we will be like seeing encapsulation abstraction is very easy. Okay, that we can finish it as fast. So tomorrow we're going to see method overloading, overriding, encapsulation, abstraction, and then I will be moving to a library part. So I'll come with a wonderful project where you can understand how the library is helping out in Python. Clear? Yes. Thank you, Anil Kumar.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
Excellent
madam,
person.
for valuable information.
Yes, Nagamani.
Really, I'm enjoying your classes. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank all the participants for attending the wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.